Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Ryan Lerman on Scary Pockets.
how do you pick the musicians and singers that you work with? Did you have it in mind? You want this person and this person together, and
Yeah, it's the there. Well, we record one day a month, and so it's basically like layers of constraints. It's like, okay, we have this day. Who's around? So we usually start with the singer. There's four singers, and then once the singer's set, I go back and forth with them about the song, and then the rhythm section has to do with kind of who's around, who I've seen, who I know. So obviously the network expanded over the 6 years that we've been doing this, but originally it was just like my friends, the people that I toured with, and like funk, musicians that I thought were funky.
right?
Um, so yeah, that's how I was sort of like casting the days, and then as it grew, it became a bit more of like, um, okay, who's never played together that I think would be a cool combination? Who plays together all the time that, like, okay, if we're going to have this singer, we should have their drummer or their bass player. Or, it's just, that's always been a fun part of the game to me, is just like putting groups of people together that I think would gel.
Do you have the song in mind for the person beforehand, or do you guys come up with that together too?
No, I usually tell the singer. I mean, at the very beginning, we were trying to do songs that were just in the top 10 at the time, and so that was kind of the assignment. Is like whatever's big now. We usually didn't even know the song because it might have just gotten big that day or whatever. So a lot of those early songs are like, huh, that's a weird choice. But after that, the task became songs that weren't already funky that everybody knows. And so sometimes people like, musicians like B-sides. They like the song that's not obvious. And so sometimes I try to steer people towards like, yeah, but what if we did, Yellow Submarine or and a
Right.
lot of times the thing that's cool for us, or a fun challenge, is like a song that might be like dumb or cheesy that everybody knows, but if we can take that song and make it cool, then it becomes a neat magic trick. So that's kind of how I try to steer the singers towards songs that I think would work in our context.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, they have to want to do it. So I don't want to force a singer to sing a song that they
Because you'll
hate.
hear that. You'll hear it in the performance if they don't want to
Exactly.
do it.
They have to be into it. So it's just a back and forth with the singers until we're both happy.
Right. Now, do you guys ever play live with that?
Yeah, yeah, we've done a lot of touring with Scary Pockets.
Okay. And is the in what band is it the same band every time, or is it just who's available?
It's who's available. Nick Campbell has been the bass player for almost every gig. He's amazing. Rob Humphreys has done a lot of touring with us as a drummer. Lamar Carter has done some. Tamir Barzilay has done some. Kyle Crane, Scary Goldings. We've had Ted Poor on tour with us, who's incredible. So yeah, it's kind of Mario Jose has sung almost every gig. Therese Curatolo was touring with us for a long time, who's now doing something else, and Brooke Simpson's going to be joining us. And Swatkins, Steve Watkins plays keys and does talk box, and so that's an amazing element to the show. And he's just the best guy to have around. So that's kind of the touring outfit.
Right. Now, I saw somewhere online something about Pocket Presents.
Yeah, Pockets Presents is sort of, um, Pockets is basically just like Pockets Inc. is a vehicle for Jack and I to make stuff that we want to make. And so Pockets Presents, we've done two of those, I think. The first was a record with Steve Watkins, Swatkins, where we basically did this one song with him on a rooftop of Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. And it did really well. Or rather, let's see, how did that come about? This big band in Frankfurt sent us an email. Would you guys want to do something together? This was pandemic times. we had just done that song, and it had a lot of space in the arrangement. We didn't arrange it knowing that we were going to put big band on it, but we thought, oh, this could be a fun song to try something. So we took that song. Jacob Mann wrote a big band arrangement, shipped it off to Frankfurt. They recorded it and filmed themselves. We put it all together in a YouTube video, and it was awesome. Talkbox big band with a German big band. It was like, nobody asked for this, but we did it, and it's fun. And so we wanted to make a whole record of that stuff. And we did, in the context of like Pockets presents Swatkins featuring the Radio City Music Big Band, Frankfurt Radio Big Band. And then similar thing happened with David Ryan Harris, who's one of my favorite people, favorite singers of all time. And David, I had seen his live shows for years in LA. They were always like, it's this mecca of all the musicians in LA would go and he played because everybody just loves him. And he asked me, we had started hanging out as friends, and he asked me if I would MD, music direct, a show that he was doing at Hotel Cafe. And I said, yes. What if we did, this wasn't just another David Ryan Harris show. What if I did new arrangements of all your songs, and we made it like, Pockets versions of David Ryan Harris originals. And so he was game. And so we got this band together that was insane. Lamar, Charles Jones, Sean Hurley on bass, Larry Goldings. And I took all his songs and gave them new grooves and new chords and reimagined them. And it was one of the most fun nights of my life. We just had the best time. And we said, man, we should do a record of that. And so we did, and now we've toured it, and we made a live album, and so he's been opening all the Scary Pockets shows, and it's just been a blast.
Very nice. That's fantastic. So how hard is it out there? You just put out the Scary Goldings album, or when did that come out?
Scary Goldings Live, I think, comes out September 8th.
September 8th. Okay, so that's what we're going with. And this is the one that has Schofield and several different drummers on it, on different tracks?
Schofield. The drummers are Lamar Carter, Lewis Cole, and Ted Poores on a track. And it's mostly from a show we did at a jazz festival in Paris last year. For, it was about 2,500 people, I think. And it was like our first real show. And it was just magical. Mono Neon was on most of it. And I think there's one or two tracks from a show we did in LA at the Echoplex with Will Lee and Ted Poore. And so it's those two performances, just sort of, live versions of the band.
Well, you don't normally work with a second guitar player, with another guitar player, do you?
I love to work with another guitar player. So we do that semi-regularly with Pockets, just because the two guitars thing is just a natural sort of fit for the type of music. And for the Goldings stuff, having another soloist's voice is just so fun in creating, depth and another element for the live show.
I guess it's kind of a master class too, being on stage with Schofield, huh?
It's a trip. It's hard not to, I feel like the Schofield influence in my playing is exposed when he's standing right there. So I have to be careful of limiting the Scoisms in my playing.
Right. I find it fascinating with the two keyboard players. There's the idea that you rarely see piano players play together.
Right.
And so you have the organ and then the electric piano, Wurlitzer. He plays the Wurlitzer too, right?
Jack. Yeah. Jack plays the Wurlitzer.
Yeah. So how did that, what the thinking behind that, does that change the way you approach things, having the two keyboards?
It's always, I don't know that it changes it, because it's always been there. We've always had, the Whirly plus Larry, and then the guitar, and sometimes another guitar. So Jack, the way that he plays is kind of like geniusly bare bones. He just plays like very few notes, and he's very part oriented. So we'll both find a part and stick with it in a way that just lays a foundation for Larry to sort of dance over. So that's that's kind of been, it's the type of thing where like Jack's contribution, you might not even hear the Wurlitzer in the song, but if you muted it, you would definitely notice
Right.
something missing.
It's part of the buried in the soundscape there, so to
Right.
speak.
Right.
Definitely. So, are you guys going to be touring? Is this a continuing
We're
thing?
playing Monterey Jazz Festival at the end of September, I believe, and then we just did a West Coast tour for Scary Goldings, which is our first tour. So I think that's all the Scary Goldings we have in the works for this year. But I would love to keep playing more live shows with Scary Goldings. It's very fun.
Right, you see it as a viable a thing
I
to
think so. The shows are a
Yeah.
blast.
right. And I love what you're doing. It harkens back to we don't get a lot of that jazz feeling like that.
Yeah.
It reminds me. It was big at one point. Like Medeski Martin and what was huge,
Right.
Scofield, Charlie Hunter. That was all huge in the late '90s, I guess.
Totally.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.